Welcome to Fireside, where we sit down with successful founders every month in order to capture their stories, insights, and lessons learned along the way. Hit the follow button and subscribe to our newsletter for more, link in the description.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for being here.
Excited.
It's going to be exciting. So when you and I first chatted, you told me that when you were growing up, you wanted to build a hotel empire.
Yeah.
Now that triggered my curiosity, obviously, because, well, first of all, it's a very specific dream for kids. And usually kids want to be an astronaut or a doctor, but you wanted to be in the hospitality and have an empire. So I was curious to know how that happened, what influenced you at that age.
Yeah, so thank you again. Thank you for the invite. So looking and reflecting now, actually people used to say that I had like dollar signs or euro signs, if you want, on my eyes. Like always, every time that we spoke about money, like I would just like start become more interested in the conversation. I don't know. And then, yeah, that's true. Since I remember, I always say that I wanted to have my hotel empire. Like I would imagine like a huge building, swimming pools, I don't know, those all-inclusive hotels, if you want, like really big things. And I mean, now that I'm older and reflecting again where this might come from, I would say it's because eventually, I'm not sure, but my parents, at some point, they wanted to have like a boutique hotel, like a smaller thing. So I remember that they used to talk about that, or they used also to talk about their dream that never actually happened. I remember they used to say they went and traveled for like visiting places that they thought that would be a nice place for that hotel, you know? And so eventually, I guess this also shaped my dream. And then I started to grow, always with this in mind, again, with money on my mind. Now that I talk to other adults and older people, like I know that I used to do like investments when I was a kid, like 10, 11, 12 years old, when people offer me money on Christmas or my birthday. Like I used to invest that money instead of just buying things. It was a normal thing for me. But now that I talk to more people, and even more that I grew up here in Portugal, like in a country that from a financial point of view, we are not really well educated, like that's not really normal. Anyway, so I always knew that I wanted to be a business owner, have my own thing. And the hotel seemed a nice idea, I guess. Yeah.
And were both your parents entrepreneurs, or one of them, or?
So no and no, I'll say, or no one, yes, eventually, depends on how we look at it. Okay, no, my father actually is really risk averse. He never created his own business. He is like, from a financial point of view, business mindset, like he works with spreadsheets. And this is also where I got the love from spreadsheets and working with Excel since I'm young. But then my mother, she used to be like the right hand of a small factory in the countryside. So I'm from Covilhã, like in a small city near the border with Spain, 2 hours, 3 hours from here. And the owner of the factory didn't know English at the time. We are talking like maybe 20, 30 years ago, right? And so he was like a local businessman, only knowing Portuguese, but he was exporting a lot to North Europe, like imagine Sweden, Finland. And my mother, when she was 17, she went abroad with 17 years old, alone, just to do babysitting service in Sweden. And so, again, if you ask me, was she an entrepreneur from the point of view that she never had her own business per se, like fiscal, like financially speaking, legally speaking? No. But did she have the mentality? I want to believe yes. And so this is an example. Like she knew English. She actually made the company went abroad.
Part of the definition of entrepreneurship is taking initiatives,
definitely
taking risks. So she went to Sweden and
again with 17 years old, and then she became, and then that was important 10, 20 years later. Yeah.
Cool. So clearly you don't have a hotel empire today.
No, yet, I guess.
You're in AI. So, but what I'm interested in is, why did you end up changing? When did you abandon that dream, or maybe you didn't abandon it? So what happened?
Yeah. So I still believe that it's still inside me.
Okay.
The sense that The hotel part, I like it. The Empire and this big building that I described, I don't think it's anymore inside me, at least for the next years. So when I was 19, 20 at the time, I was living in Brussels. So I studied management in Coimbra, then I went abroad. And back then, like I realized that I loved Portugal and specifically Lisbon, that I didn't like the city before I went abroad. Then when I went abroad, I started to love the city, the sun, the people, the food.
So it's when you left it that you felt that you liked it more?
I realized that I actually loved Portugal and Lisbon per se, like the city. Because again, when I left, I was around 21. I have never lived in Lisbon because I'm from countryside. I studied in Coimbra, the university. And so, of course, I had visited the city, but it seemed like a big city for me, like really a capital, you know. But then when I went to Brussels, I realized that the sun was really important for me. Like Brussels is a bit grayish. I even had like one video that I would just spin around the garden that we had, like in 10 seconds. There's sun, there's no sun anymore. Like it's literally like this, Brussels. So I knew that if I would return to Portugal at the time, I was going to actually live in Lisbon. It would be the only city because I wanted to continue to have like this connection with the international world, the European scene. And so eventually I become and started working in a startup there. But coming back to your question, at the time I still thought that I wanted to have this hotel empire, right? So what I did was, again, with 21 years old, my favorite social media at the time was already LinkedIn, which by the way is the only one that I use today. So no Instagram, no Facebook. And so I just posted there and something like, okay, I want to meet people in the hotel industry who's out there. Like, do I have anyone in my connection or like second or third level connection? Then people start to reply. And I just ask, okay, I want to have like 5-10 minutes chat. At the time, like Skype. This was like 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So through Skype. And so I created this small CRM, like customer relationship management sheet on Google Sheets. Each row was a different person I was meeting. And so basically I met these people and I was, 1-2 minutes describing who I was. And they immediately after 1-2 minutes, they started to see, okay, like you are a guy who talk a lot, talk fast, have a lot of ideas, are creative. You are a creative person. It seems like you have a lot of energy, you want to do stuff. Hotel industry is not for you. Because like I remember I talked to this guy also named Mario, who was in the other hotel industry. He used to work in the marketing teams. And he told me like, even being in a marketing department in the hotel industry, like you just need to follow these guidelines that come from the headquarters, right? And so you have like 10-20% margin, but I mean, you don't need to be too creative. And so it's definitely not for you, you know? So I still applied anyway, fast forward, and I realized, okay, it's not for me. And so
because of his feedback, you actually followed through. You actually believed it, and
because it was not just one person. I always mentioning this person specific, also again named Mario, because I think it was the one who actually made this point really strong. But other people that I talked with told me kind of the same thing. Again, if I go to that spreadsheet, I would say like 1, 2, 3 bullet points what people tell me, and then I read, and I didn't need too many people. Like I met with 5 to 10 people. And by the way, another thing that I used to do, I still do this, is at the end of the call, I just ask people, okay, can you intro me to 1 or 2 other people? I'm looking for these and these people, this profile, can you intro me? And normally people will tell you, okay, let me think. Okay, I remember this or that person. And so just by one post, I met with 1 or 2 people, and then they start to become exponential. And then within 1 to 3 weeks, I realized this.
It's funny that you put it in a spreadsheet too. It's just kind of like your dad's influence, if I understand right.
I put everything on a spreadsheet because my dad puts everything on a spreadsheet. Like,
it's funny. So okay, so no more hotel empire at that time. What did you end up doing after that realization?
So again, I knew that if I was coming back to Portugal, it would be Lisbon. 2, I wanted to continue working in English. And 3, to the European scene. So I wanted to work with European companies, not only in Portugal. And so after 1 to 3 months of this call, I came to Lisbon for an event, and I went for breakfast with this Mario that I had previously met right in the call. And he told me after 5-10 minutes. He told me, okay, by the way, there's this startup called at that time Jobbox. Nowadays it's called Planning Jobs. Not sure if some of you have heard about it, but it's basically a tech recruitment marketplace. And so I was hired as the first sales manager, the first person doing 100% sales at the time. And so that was the thing.
Okay. And from there on, if I understood right, you ended up doing some Airbnb management at some point?
Yeah. What happened? Yeah.
Because I was also very curious about that, because you kind of put the hotel thing aside, but you did end up managing Airbnbs.
Yeah.
So what went on there? What was that business? Was that your first business?
Actually, it was my first business. It actually then led to what I normally call my first business. But now that you actually mentioned it, it was my first business in the sense that I was generating money from there, but not anyway. Like what happened there was I spent 1 year as sales manager at Landing Jobs, and then this guy that I met during this time, an event, like he was also a speaker as me, and we came to Lisbon together in the car. We started to chat. And after 1, 2, 3 months, I decided to quit my job.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to leave my apartment in Lisbon. I just rented to friends of mine, and I decided to leave my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, thankfully, in Lisbon to pursue this dream of starting my first company.
So your girlfriend stayed here, and you left your apartment,
and I quit my job.
And you quit your job.
So all in. Bad idea, we'll see. But so at the time I was really excited, and this is also another thing. Like I still do this, but I used to say yes, to tell yes to everything all the time. And then I don't have time for myself or whatever. Like I have too many things happening at the same time. So this is also a skill that I've been learning to say no. It's really tough. Yeah. Because I FOMO, But at that time, so I left all these 3 things. I went to Azores Island where that guy was. And so basically this guy, the background is that he traveled around the world for 1 year with little or no money. He wrote a book about it, and then he was doing some workshops, some like conferences to companies. Then I wanted to help him and to give some structure, and we would be co-founders and create that company. And so I went to Azores. I was sleeping on his garage. But it was funny because it was summer. We went outside every day. We went just for a swim in the morning. Then we were starting at 9 or 10. So actually it was a good lifestyle, but I didn't realize everything that I left behind. And I didn't it was just normal for me, I liked the adventure eventually. And so I went there, and after 1 month of working every single day, like Monday to Sunday with him, because it was the only thing I was doing there, right? We realized that after putting everything black on white, writing the things, like we were not aligned. And so we came to the conclusion that, one, he was the one inviting me, so it would be wise for me to leave, not him, of course. And it was really centralized at that point in his figure. And 2, it would be better to do it now, to break up now, rather than in 6 to 12 months where we would have already, complete things and agreements. And so I returned to Lisbon, and this is where Airbnbs came up, because from one day to the other, again, I didn't have a job, I didn't have my apartment. I went to sleep with my girlfriend. Still, she waited for me. Yes. And then after 1, 2, 3 days, I was like literally banging my head on the wall. It's like, I don't have anything to do. Like, I need things to do, I need to do things. And I don't know, this was like 15, 16, Airbnb booming was starting here in Lisbon. And I just decided to do the following. Okay, I'll just, go ahead.
Yeah, all good.
I'll just rent an apartment, a house, and subrent it on Airbnb. So I was taking the risk there. I was buying the risk from the owners, right? So I would pay them in advance 1, 2, 3 rents, and then I would take care of all the logistics. And what normally people ask me is that legal? Yes, really short. It's legal. You can still do that if the owner allows you, on the contract gives you the permission for. So that's okay, because I didn't have the money to buy a house, right? So I started with 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is where eventually my dream came back again. Again, not this huge empire, but these boutiques, small Airbnbs, each of them with their own personality, talking to people, managing all of these, also logistics. Of course, I set up some spreadsheets to run everything and to optimize some things. So I was enjoying that moment. Yeah.
So how big did that venture get?
So again, we had, this was like a business that I was running it operationally. Also, my wife helped me. So we ended up having around 5 apartments around Lisbon. But then something happened, which is that the guests started to ask me for breakfast, right? And then initially I started to do some partnerships with some local cafes. And then I realized that that was not enough. So I wanted to start to deliver the breakfast. So I started to look for options. I didn't like the options. So I decided to create my business. This is what I actually call my first business.
Got it. So you created a breakfast business for the Airbnbs you were renting?
Yes.
Okay.
So I started to sell those breakfasts to my own Airbnbs. But of course, because it was small in terms of structure, like I needed to sell to other Airbnbs. And so this is like a small world. And we, like all these owners, small owners, know each other. And so I started by going to those other owners. And the deal I was at the time doing was, okay, I'll offer the breakfast for your guests in exchange of 2 things. 1, they'll give me feedback on the order process. And 2, they'll give me feedback on the breakfast itself, on the products, on the drinks. And this is like, at the time, again, I didn't think about too much about this, but it's a lesson that I still take nowadays, which is the importance of being close to your customers or potential customers, or like feedback loops really fast. And I have this story where I was delivering the breakfast to one of these people. They were like a couple from India and their son, 3 people. And I went there. I knocked the door. I said, okay, this is my project, still not a business, my project. This is the breakfast. Can we chat a bit? And they said, okay, come inside. And I spent like 1 hour with them. This was like, they gave me so much feedback. They told me things like, okay, look, you are in Lisbon. This breakfast is good. It was not good. It was like really shit at the time. I was preparing everything at my home.
You were cooking?
I was cooking. I was one-man job, right? I was cooking, acquiring users, invoicing them, delivering, receiving feedback. At that time, it took me like, I was riding bicycle, not even motorcycle, like bicycle in this 7 hills city. So it took me like 1 hour, an hour and a half to deliver breakfast at the time. So it was like 1 or 2 per day, you know? And so then I sat down with them and they told me, okay, why don't you add 1, orange juice, like squeeze daily orange juice, and 2, like pastel de nata, right? Everyone knows what pastel de nata is. And the other lesson here is that I was so like focused and I was so on the hamster wheel that sometimes you don't have this opportunity to have this helicopter view, right?
Because you never really sat down and decided to do a breakfast business.
No, it just happened.
Someone asked you, we need breakfast. You're like, okay, I'll just create it.
I saw an opportunity. I tried to sell, tried first to offer, then try to sell.
So so you were in execution mode and you never really strategized about it or took a step back.
Yeah.
So eventually did you end up having employees there? Or?
Yeah, we grew the team around 6-7 people. And this is like, I normally say it's my first business because it was when I actually created a company because Airbnb was still under my name, you know. But anyway, so yeah, we grew up the team. It was bootstrapped, which means I didn't actually get money from outside and funding. So it was tough because I wasn't, in order to give liquidity and cash flow to the company, I wasn't getting my own salary. I was just injecting money in the company because I believed in the dream, because it was my baby, because like it was like really 2 years, really intensive years where normally in hotels and restaurants, that's why I know now that I don't want to have more business like these industries, that you work when people are having fun, right? So you work when it's holidays and when it's weekends, when it's night. And so I was delivering breakfast every single day from Monday to Sunday, every single day of the year, like Christmas, New Year's Eve, like we were there, right? Because tourists, as I normally say, tourists don't take vacations, like they are always there, right? And so, Yeah, and we were starting at 3, 4, 5 a.m. preparing breakfast. So it was really, really intense.
Oh, yeah.
It was tough.
Okay, so did you end up selling that business? Did something happen?
Something happened indeed.
Okay.
And now I see it as an open eyes, like second opportunity, which is again after this almost 2 years, I was coming from an event like in Parque das Nações to the office, which is Campo das Bolas. I was coming at the end. It was a Saturday, and I was with my motorcycle, and suddenly like I crash. And I have an accident. And I black out. And after a few minutes or seconds, I don't know. I wake up completely destroyed on the floor, and I couldn't move. And yeah, I went to the hospital, and for these 4, 5, 6 hours, like I couldn't move because people were running exams and tests on me to see if I had anything broken. And so during those hours, like I just thought, what am I doing? Like the last 2 years again was really tough. I didn't spend time with my family. I was going to my hometown. Like I didn't enjoy moments that I should have, and I wasn't present in moments that I should have been. And so, yeah, at that moment I decided, okay, I need to do something like regarding the business. This is not growing as I was expecting. I was an ambition, and I still am an ambitious guy, and it's not working. So
yeah. So the realization here is that you were spending a lot of time on this business, that you don't have enough time to spend with your family, or was the realization that this business is not up to your standards because it's not growing fast enough?
I think it's everything. Like it wasn't growing fast enough as my ambitions to. I was starting to feel physically and mentally the impact. So I'm not sure, to be honest, if it was a beginning or if I was already on a burnout or whatever. Like again, I didn't take any vacations during these 2 years. Waking up really early to prepare the breakfast, to deliver them, and during the day I was doing sales and invoicing and admin and everything else, buying the ingredients for the next day to redo everything again. So yeah, now so to answer your question, I think it was a lot of things. Yeah,
A lot of things at the same time.
yeah.
Okay, so
And so I now see
you were
this.
fine.
Then eventually,
Scans and all of that.
yeah, I was fine. Like I spent like 2 or 3 weeks at home. I couldn't went out, but yeah, I was fine. I recovered,
Okay.
so I'm okay today. So I run and I do exercise. That's okay. And yeah, so at the same time, funny thing happened, which is one of my first customers, who tried breakfast like 2 years before that event, was also co-founder of another startup like called EatTasty, which is a lunch and dinner delivery company. He told me, okay, we had been meeting already sometimes. He was a mentor of mine in a acceleration program. He told me, okay, I think you should talk with my co-founder. And this was when, after like 1 or 2 or 3 days after the accident happened, like he didn't know anything about the accident, right? He didn't know. And then after 2 weeks, I was like going completely still destroyed a bit, like meeting him in their office. The conversation that was supposed to be like 30 minutes, we ended up like 1 or 2 hours. So we really clicked. And then I saw an opportunity, which is, okay, I already took this decision about my business. It's my baby, but yeah, I need to do something about it. And this company, EatTasty, it's like 2, 3 levels in front of this adventure, like 2, 3 levels, 2, 3 steps ahead where I wanted already to be, right? They had just fundraised for 2 million euros at the time. They wanted to expand to other countries. I wanted to live that adventure and that journey, right? And so I decided, okay, it was not an easy decision, but I decided, okay, I want to live this dream, even if it's not with my company, with my baby. So I said, okay, I will sell them and I will work with them. And that's what happened. Like for 3 years, I was the head of growth. I opened Spain.
Sorry to interrupt, but here, that was an exit.
That was an exit. It was not like really. I mean, it was not in terms of value of money, huge amount. But if you want, it was an exit. Yeah.
You started a business. You grew it to a certain size. You ended up selling it.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that for the situation where I was in, the fact that I had already taken the decision, my negotiation position was already in a weak position, right? Because if they wouldn't appear, I would just eventually close.
Because they wanted to hire you,
yes.
But in order to hire you, you made them buy your company.
Got it. Yeah.
And so you were head of growth at EatTasty.
Yes.
Grew for.
So we grew from 4 or 5 people when I joined to 40 people. We grew from, I don't know, I would say 300 lunches in Lisbon to 1,000 and dinner per day.
Okay.
So
wow.
per day. Yeah. And lunch, per day. This was, and then we opened also Porto, another city. Then we were growing really well. The team was expanding. I was going to Madrid, which is a city, by the way, I love. And so it was also a nice perk, meeting often with the team there. And then eventually something came to everyone's life, which is called COVID-19, and just blew like tears apart. So the story was like in January that year, January, February, I happened to be in Asia. So I was traveling at Asia. So I saw that I almost got like, I was stuck in Vietnam at that time. Then I was able to flew back and I said, guys, this is something big. This is going to hit us. Just a matter of time. They were like, no, I don't think so. This was January, February. Then after a couple of weeks, we started to hear in Madrid. Then we felt in our operations. That was a good thing for us because Madrid, Spain happened like 2-3 weeks in advance. So we were able to prepare our operations here in Lisbon in 2-3 weeks in advance. That gave us, which were our biggest operations at the time. This gave us some leverage, but then this happened really fast. And at some point, like our prime minister at the time in Portugal, he just called everything. I think this was like a Thursday, like tomorrow or next Friday, or next Monday, everyone goes home and stays home, right? Working from home. And so from that Friday to Sunday, we had 2-3 days where the entire team, like relentlessly, like nonstop, we just reshaped our business. I'll give an example. Like we needed to, from the tech side, from the operational side, everything changed because we were used to deliver 40 lunches at one place like this or another place. And instead of one order, 40 places of 40 lunches, we suddenly had 40 orders with one lunch, right? And this completely changed our economics, our business model. Another example was all these addresses were public. So you could just write second home and you knew where second home was because we were delivering in offices. But then suddenly I would say Mário Tarouca's house or home, and then suddenly everyone would have access to my private address. And so even these small details, we needed to change in the entire platform. So it was like really tough days, but we were able to change everything and adapt.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, you were mentioning COVID tore you apart, but like it tore apart a lot of businesses, and then a handful of businesses completely skyrocketed.
Right. Yeah.
Depending on where you were on the spectrum of digital and physical, when that happened, if you were,
Yeah. What happened with us was that, okay, we were able to adapt. Then the metrics and the goals that we had, they started to become far and farther. And so it was harder for us, started to take us more time to achieve those goals. And then eventually, like we started to run out of money and we didn't have money to go to a third country, to the fourth country, because the dream they sold me 3 years before when I went from breakfast to EatTasty was that, okay, we want to, in 3, 5, 10 years, to be in 5, 10 countries in Europe. This is what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to grow this. I wanted to make this adventure. And eventually, suddenly this didn't happen, right?
Is that when Framedrop and AI started to happen?
So again, yes, because at that time, so we are already 3 years in EatTasty, 1 year, 1.5 years after COVID, I was seeing things were not going faster. And again, I'm an ambitious guy. They were going away far. And so I started to think about my life and started to think what I want to do next. And one thing I was sure is I want to have my business again. By the way, I didn't mention, but it was really tough for me to go from breakfast, from business owner to employee. It was really, really tough.
I wanted to ask you about that, actually.
Yeah. By the way, an advice, if you ever do that, allow yourself like to have 1, 2, 3 weeks, 1 month of vacations, like just to breathe. Because again, I came from these 2 years experience really tough. And so I started, I don't know, I think I stopped breakfast, and then I went to EatTasty from Friday to Monday. So I had a weekend, but I was like really pumped, right? I wanted to go into the adventures, and so we had like it was a 3 to 6 months experience both for me and for the founders at that time. It was tough for all of us, yeah. But then, yeah, we agreed. By the way, another thing here, sorry, is that from that point on, it took me 1 year to actually close down, legally speaking, the company.
Wow.
Because it was my baby, so I was like, how do you say,
Attached.
Attached. But when someone dies, like you do like
withdrawal. You're sad. Like
I was sad. Yeah, yeah.
doing,
more breathing. Thank you. Yeah, I was. Yeah, my first baby, right? The company, and so that's another lesson. Like, yeah,
you're grieving closing the company.
I was grieving. It was really hard to go to physically, not only because you need to pay, by the way, in Portugal to close a company, which is okay, but you need to pay to close the company to open it. And they actually, like you can open, fun fact, you can open with €1, but to close, it's like 50 euros or 100. It costs you more. Right? But so I needed to go physically to that place to close the company. And so I was always postponing, because that was admitting something that I didn't want to become real.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to AI and Framedrop. You were about done with EatTasty, and they're looking for something else. And
so I was still at EatTasty. I was like, I wanted to have my own business, so I started to talk to different people in the community, see what was out there. And then again, an opportunity came to me, which is my co-founder now, JD, that we knew each other from 10 years ago from the university in Coimbra. Each of us took his own path, and then he suddenly sent me a message and said, "Hey, dude, I have this algorithm that I created." Like, he's the tech guy, the gamer, okay, for context. And so he likes to play Call of Duty Warzone. So he created this algorithm to find his best moments on the game.
From a recording of the game.
From the recording of the game, he would create like, and best moments in that case, that context is like, so it's a game where you kill people, right? And so killing like 3 opponents in like eliminating people. It's
first shooter game.
First shooter game, exactly. Eliminating 3 opponents like in 1 second, 2 seconds, like a nice play. So that's a 3rd kill, like a 3 kill. And so he created that algorithm. He created a SaaS product for the gamers, for the streamers on Twitch to also do that. But he was like, I don't know how to distribute this. I don't know to bring this to the market. Like, can we exchange some ideas? I was like, yeah, I have time. It's a nice moment. Let's explore it, right? And I was doing this, by the way, with several other people at the same time, like 1 or 2 more. I was exploring opportunities. And yeah, so we started to talk. Then eventually, after 2-3 talks, I just said, okay, let's do here a plan. Let's open a Google Docs, create like some bullet points. Let's try something.
Spreadsheet.
Eventually spreadsheet, yeah. And the first thing we did ever was, okay, I wasn't charging anything at the time, or I guess like I'm going to help you, and let's see where this goes. 1 month plan, and the first thing was, okay, I was using Framedrop account on Twitter, X on Twitter at the time, and I was just going on gamers profiles and sending a DM and saying, by the way, we have this tool. Do you want to try it out? Like, here's a 15 days like trial. Just go. Just to get people's feedback and start to have the ball rolling.
So just a quick summary of what Framedrop does.
Whoa, now there's way more things.
So if I understood correctly, and in just a couple of sentences, it takes a big video, long video, and it detects the high moments and the best moments automatically using AI, and it cuts it into shorts.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And the use case back then was that gamers spend like literally 5, 10, 24 hours just playing on Twitch. They are live streaming them, and the footage is like horizontal, and they wanted to verticalize because they wanted to share on TikTok, on Reels, and they wanted to have like their camera on top and the game here, so we could do that. Everything, not only finding the best ones, but verticalizing automatically. They would export and import on their social media.
And so you grew it to, was it 100,000 users, or like maybe you can give us some stats to where we are now?
Yeah, currently we acquired this year alone 100,000 users. Like more than 50% of our paying users are from the US, 10-15% from the UK, Canada, also Germany, and then it's like long term. Yeah.
And how did you grow that? I remember you said that for the first 2 years it didn't have any revenue, and you didn't have any funding either.
Yeah. So
the first 2 years. How did you survive these, and why did you keep going?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think because we are stupid and we are entrepreneurs. Just like the company was funded 3.5 years ago, right? 2021. And I joined early 2022 and became co-founder of JD. So he worked for 6 months on this algorithm. Then he came, told me the story I told, and then we joined forces. And then in 2022, we raised money. So we raised we did this product, but we had an idea. We sold like a dream to our investors. We raised 1.1 million euros in Portugal pre-seed, which is for pre-seed Portugal already considerable. If you go to the US, like, dude, that's nothing. But here, for the scene that we are, that's considerable. And this was end of 2022. And early 2023, last year, we started recruiting and creating the team. So last year we were 5 people. Now we are 10 people. And we want to keep like this, small team, low burn, which is like the amount of money that we, like the cost that we have at the end of the day every month. So this way we can extend our runway, which is the time that the company has, right, in terms of months. And yeah, looking at there's like before 2024 and after 2024.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'm curious when things were not working out.
Exactly. So before 2024,
you get up every day like, I still believe in this thing, or.
As I told you, the beginning was for gamers, right? Twitch, finding these algorithms. And then what our logic evolution for us, we thought was, okay, let's start and grow for a second, like our catalog, right? Second game, third game, fourth game. And now we support 6 games because for each game, an highlight is different, an algorithm is different, and we need to train them, etc. And so we started to grow our catalog of games. And we try to sell these to streamers. We try to sell these to the fans of the stream. We try to sell these to e-organizations, their teams. We try to sell these to sponsors. And for different reasons, it didn't work out, right?
None of that.
For example, with the gamers, with the streamers, 75% of them are younger than 25 years old. And these already give us some things, which is an 18, 16, 20 years old guy or girl, they don't value their time as a 30, 40, 50 years old person does, because they think that their time worth nothing. So they prefer to invest after 10 or 20 hours of streaming to spend another 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 hours reviewing all the footage, cutting it, because the majority of them, what they do is while they are live, they are taking notes on a book right? Then they recap everything. Instead of paying for $10 or $20 a month. This is what we were charging. It's like, I couldn't understand why. But then that's why eventually we spent so much time, months and months there. And then suddenly we said, okay, we can't continue here, right? And this was like our 2022, 2023. And then during last year, 2023, like every week, I had someone coming into the platform. And by the way, we were not growing like this. Like these 100,000 users were just January on, right? We are skyrocketing now. But at the time, we're like, growing 1% every month, and I was like, "That's awesome! That's awesome!" Now we are doubling every month. That's crazy.
Because you had a critical point.
And so during these first 2 years, we were doing what it's called pivoting. So with the same idea at the time, we were trying to sell to different users. So we had Framedrop.co, Framedrop.gg, Framedrop.ai, where we are now. So different evolutions of the product. And so the lesson is resilience, right? You need to keep going. If you have the funds, if you have the people, if you have the energy, but it's really tiring and consuming, definitely. And so, again, coming back to my point, during 2023, every week, people just were asking us, what about YouTube, right? We were just integrated at the time with Twitch and gaming. That was our position. YouTube meant not only like the integration per se was easy with the platform, but would mean that suddenly we have a lot of different types of content that we were not prepared for, right? So every week we were asked about YouTube, and our mistake I see now was that we just postponed it too much. Right? If we would have been started like 6, 8 months, 9 months before, when people started to tell us, we would just surf the wave even faster.
It's easy to say in hindsight, but when you're inside of it, you don't know what's going to work, what's not going to work.
So like a pivotal, like a really changing moment in the company was when December last year, end of November, we decided, okay, at the time we were like 5, 6 people, we decided, let's stop everything. And for 1 week, we'll do an internal hackathon. right? For 4 or 5 days, all of us went to Coimbra. By the way, we are all working remotely. So we joined the same team, the same city, same space. And we said, even like developers, of course, but also me and the other market people, as a man, like, let's just try to do something within 1 week and we'll see. At the end of the week, and the goal was, okay, the first algorithm for what we call talking button. So imagine a talk like this, or a debate, or whatever, like presentation, and then we would find the best moments. Right? And so at the end, we divided in teams, we came up with different algorithms, we test them, we showed the output, and then we voted, and we saw the pros and cons of each. And at the end, actually, we had something working. And so our December was basically putting that into production, integrating with YouTube, and in January, we were launching YouTube.
Okay. And from January on, from the YouTube,
yeah,
just organically.
Of course.
I mean,
it was not. I mean, it was really organic, but we started to invest and to put some money to kick off things, to give it a little help, because we started to feel that organically things were started to happen, right? So people were starting to talk about us, were starting to refer to other friends. This was not happening before, right? And so, what we did first, January, February, we started to basically partner with content creators on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Like, we tried every platform. We tried different formats like image, video, text only. And we even tried another form, which is called listicles. You might have seen already on Twitter, which is these profiles that list like the five video AI tools to do whatever, the 5, the 10, whatever, you know. And the business model there is that we pay them by the impressions, and then we don't need to review. They can even like mention our competitors. I don't care. I just want to have my link there. And I will tell you a secret. Like, what we started to see after 1 or 2 months is that these network effects started to happen, which is we pay the first 5 or 10 or 20 creators, and then another 50, 100 came and started to organically, without us paying, commenting and referring us, and do the same listicles and just writing articles about us, because they thought we were like the reference, right? The player, because everyone was talking about us. But we had like 1% or even like 0.1% of the content creators talking about us. But because it was at the same time, it seemed like, okay, it's the second, third time that I see this on my feed. I need to also...
It must be big.
Yeah. And we weren't big at the time. Like, looking now, in terms of even features, like, we were so bad. We are still, by the way, Reid Hoffman, the LinkedIn co-founder, has a quote, something like this, like, if you like launch a product that you are proud of it, you launch it too late. So you should launch it when you are embarrassed about it, right? And we were embarrassed, and even me, like, I'm the guy that listened the user's feedback, that listened to the customer feedback, and then bring it to the tech team. We create a roadmap. So now I'm always the guy like pushing, and I wasn't still proud, right? But we were doing the journey.
Yeah.
Like,
this is a great lesson, because a lot of us who have tried to put out a product, we wait until, the interface looks perfect and every button works well. And when there's an error, you have a beautiful error message. But all of that, you just, in the beginning, you just have to generate or validate your idea. Generate those first customers.
I'll tell you one thing. Not sure if it's a good example for here, but something that came to my mind, which is some things sometimes are fake. For example, I'm not sure if you know, but the majority of the loading bars that you see, like 100%, 1 minute, 5 minutes, majority of them are fake. Just in our case, we actually can't know how much time it will take. So we have a proxy. We estimate that depending on the time of the video that you are importing, we know that there's this factor, I don't know, we multiply it by 1 or divide, I don't know now the calculation, but we just multiply by a number, right? Then this will give us like 1, 2, 3 minutes, whatever. But it might be actually faster, it might be...
You do need to show something.
Exactly,
moving,
but you need to show something. That's the thing. So just this to tell you that not everything is really well thought, and there's one reason behind. Just do it, just try it out. Yes.
Your fundraiser, was it challenging? Was it easy?
No, it was a challenge. It was a challenge. Like, I have personally, in the first person I've never, again, fundraised. I was connected with VCs before because of EatTasty, but I never did it in the first person, right? And also my co-founder. So yeah, one thing that I would change that other people told me and that I will continue to hear stuff, which is it took us 7 months to fundraise 1.1 billion. It's like the majority of the like the partners, the companies that actually invested money, we met them in the first week. But then like because we just ran around the country, like we went to a lot of cities and we talked to a lot of people in the first week. But then it took us like 6 months and 3 weeks to close because the paperwork is tough, because summer got in the middle, because a lot of different things. So, and we had the commitment, right? Just so you have an idea, I'm not sure if you already raised money, but like just the contract, it's more than once, like 80 pages, something like it. So it's really tough. We had a lot of lawyers involved. Yeah.
That's why when you raise funds, usually you try to do as much as you can because it's the same work. It's the same amount of work.
Exactly.
But then also if you're overvalued, that's another problem.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I also, my point, which is like the conclusion here was, and what people told us that we felt was, don't stop working on the product. And we completely stopped. It was just me and my co-founder. We decided, both of us, to be focused, 100% focused on the fundraising, instead of perhaps one of us would be more focused there and the other one on the product. So we evolved zero product during 7 months, which also hurt us at the time.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Interesting. Very cool. What's next for Mario before we open up the discussion?
For me personally?
Yeah, the projects, ambitions.
So now again, I stopped having Airbnbs here in Lisbon, but then I discovered Madeira Island, which I love, the last 2 years because of COVID, and now I have a place there. I'm running, and I'm actually under construction on the second Airbnb there now. If by any chance any of you want to go, I'll be more than happy.
I'll send you the link.
We can chat. And so Airbnb again, so this boutique concept, and we are now trying to, both me and my wife, trying to do more like premium stuff instead of more budget stuff that like backpackers, that was our position here in Lisbon. Then the second thing is, like personally, in the next 2, 3, 5 years, like I like to do different things at the same time. Like besides the company where I'm like 100%, I have another thing which is missile automation. Like I like to talk about no code. I have my own no code course. I do workshops, and then I have business advisor to other startups. And so what I see myself in the future is like as a serial entrepreneur. So in 1, 2, 3 years, eventually 5 years, I sell EatTasty. We have an exit. Framedrop. And then I'll have time to create another business. And eventually I will want to conclude, I will want to have what is called boring business. Which is, imagine like a self laundry.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Laundromat or a car wash or
a car wash. Something that, one, makes money, cash flow, generates cash flow, and two, I don't need to have like investors. And it's not about investors because I really like our ones. We are really lucky. It's about the growth mentality and the pressure. And it's really tough. Like, and this concerns you, right? So I think I need to rest a bit, but I want to have my business.
It's funny because your first answer was Airbnbs again. You're back to real estate, like hospitality, generally speaking.
Real estate,
yeah. It's kind of like full circle.
Yeah.
From when that guy told you you're not made for it, but it's somehow still inside of you.
I think he said you are not made for the hotel chain culture and department and culture, but I still feel attached to the hotel or the property management thing, I guess. Yeah.
I was very curious, when you left your girlfriend and came back from the Azores, did she give you a hard time? Or did she tell you you're welcome?
No, she was really supportive.
Okay.
She went there also to visit me. She went there for a week, I guess. And then when I came back, I was really depressed, really down with all the situation. And a funny thing was, when I landed on the airport here in Lisbon, like I had not only my wife, but my sister and some friends, and they all had this Super Mario face. on them and some balloons and some things, and it was really a nice moment. Yeah,
Very cool.
this cheered me up. Yeah.
So she's your wife right now.
She's my wife now.
Okay, good job.
I think it was a test that we overcame it, and now we are even stronger. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Okay. Now it's your turn to have any questions for Mario.
Hey, I remember you said that when you exited your first business with the breakfast, you said that you went to become an employee, and it was a very hard time for you. What made it a hard time? Like, is it?
Yeah, the fact that I was receiving orders from other people, and before I was the one deciding where I wanted to go.
Is it because you didn't agree with the orders? Or?
I mean, it's normal not to always be on the same page, right? Not to always agree on everything. And also, the first co-founder I worked with at the time, he did a lot of micromanagement, and I didn't like that. And even more for someone who just had his own business. I was like, I didn't have anyone doing that for a lot of time. And so after 2-3 months working under that founder, we decided for me to work with the other founder. So we changed it and decided to work really well. And then after 1 year, 1.5 years, I actually returned to the other co-founder. And also both him and me like grew up and I don't know, got better on accepting both things, both sides. And we were working. And today we are friends, all of us. Yeah. And by the way, they both helped me with the fundraising and putting in contact and open a lot of doors. I'm really appreciated for that. But I would say it's about that. It's about the fact that for 2 years I was deciding my life. Like I didn't have to say anything to anyone. Like, of course, I had my team. I was discussing with them. Then I was also solo founder, which was also a pain in the ass. Like, if you can, that's something that I also decided. The next business or Framedrop now that I wanted to have, I need to have at least another person. Because when someone is down, the other one might not be top, but in the middle, but will pull you up, and the other way around. And the other time on breakfast for 2 years, I was completely alone. It was tough. So my partner was my wife now. She suffered a lot. Yeah.
So you talked about pivoting through different verticals, and you should have done it earlier. Obviously, there are times when you can pivot too early, and you can pivot maybe too much and get maybe lost. What do you think about? How do you see the balance between knowing when to pivot and maybe pivoting too early and too much?
Nice. Good question. You touched a point there that I didn't mention, which is we tried at Framedrop, we tried other business models. Besides these, turning long videos into short ones, we tried other things with the resources that we had, because we were talking to so many people, so many creators, agencies, podcast agencies, that we always saw different. I think, by the way, this is one thing that I do good. If I do something good, is that I spot opportunities. I spot people's pains, and then if I believe I can add value, I try to do something there, right? And so one opportunity that we spotted was UGC, user-generated content, and that we could, like, one video of this costs like 500, 1,000, 2,000 euros, really expensive. And so we started to work on a way of lowering this cost more. We started to get some traction. Companies were paying us, and then suddenly investors told us, like, what are you doing? Like, but we are really happy. Like, we are getting our first revenue. Like, shouldn't we go there? They're like, are you sure? Like, did you validate that market? Is it big enough? Like, do you want to? I never know how to say this in English. Like, unfocus, defocus. Like, there's no, like, the opposite of focus, right? There should be a English word for the opposite of focus, because I also believe that focus is really important. So coming back to your point, we tried that thing. And so what we try to do is like really fast sprints of 1, 2, 3 months. And then we said, okay, no, it's not that thing. Let's focus again. Yeah. So we tried other business and other business models. And eventually, like what I see here, yeah, every 3 months, more or less, we're pivoting from streamers to funds to companies, right? And then now, after these 3.5 years, I see that we pivoted, but we kind of narrowed it down, right? So also I didn't mention, but we started with gaming, then we went to this talking content. The good thing is that we brought 100,000 users in less than 1 year to the website, but the problem is that that's a lot of different use cases. Now we have podcasters, we have YouTube creators, we have gamers, and those people want different features, different roadmaps, and then start to become really confusing also for us. What should we prioritize? And so this quarter, I just met with the team last week, and we decided, okay, the word for this quarter is focus, right? Is focus. We want to focus on a specific niche industry, and that one is media industry. We are seeing some traction from TV, radio stations, digital newspapers, because these are the ones that have like dozens, thousands of hours of content, but then they don't have enough people to just repurpose and work on it. And so we believe that we can add a lot of value there.
Hey, would you raise again if you have to raise? And what stopped you from pivoting to YouTube before, back in last year?
So I'll try to answer that one. I think it's less interesting. The other one is more interesting for me. That's in terms of like we just I don't know. I mean, again, we were in the hamster wheel. Now, as I said, like looking back, it's way easier for me to say every week for 6 months, people are telling us and asking us for YouTube, just saying, no, it's not yet. It's not for us. It's unfocused. It's not the focus, right? But then once we do that, it's like overnight success, but it took us like 3 years to get there. So that overnight success took us 3 years, right? A lot of different trials. And this is, by the way, one of the major reasons why companies fail. It's not because they run out of money. It's because they run out of energy and motivation and resilience. Like they give up. Okay. Your second question, fundraising. You ask, would you raise money again if you need it? If I need it, yes. If I want, no. Ideally, I would never raise money again because that is just like cutting my share part and my partners, right? But it depends. So now we are generating money. We are not profitable yet, but we are close to profitable. But the problem is that investors and VC game, it's always like, it doesn't matter if you are profitable. They just want you to go faster and acquire more customers, just keep going and grow, no matter what. This mentality has changed a bit in the last 1 to 2 years because of the inflection and everything, but they still have that mentality. It's the VC game, it is what it is. So we might need to raise again in 2025 for the goals that we want to achieve, yeah. And if we do that, it might not be in Portugal. I mean, we already fundraise with the best like VCs in Portugal, which is Indico Capital Partners and Chilling. So we might raise with one eventually here, but we want to fundraise eventually in the US, where our market is, we believe.
And you managed to raise before you'd found product market fit, basically. Who are your investors? Can I have a contact?
Yeah,
I'm product based, but I understand firsthand how challenging it is. And one of the big things that, particularly in the UK at the moment, they're looking for that validation product market fit before they will sign the checks and hand the cash over. So will these investors, I guess the question from that, are they going to be follow on, or are you specifically going to be focusing on the US?
Yeah,
strategically.
Yeah, on that point, I will answer the other one, but on that point is we are still not thinking about our next round yet, because we still believe that we can add more value and increase the valuation of the company, what we are doing now, and we have a comfortable runway. And so we didn't decide that yet. Again, I believe it will be in the US because we are targeting the US and it makes sense. We already have an US investor in our cap table, which is Axel. She's one of the biggest investors in the world with a small ticket. So that's on that point. On the other point, why did they invest on us? Right. So we were two guys, which, by the way, already helps on several points. One, we are two people, not one. Two, we are guys and not girls. Eventually, unfortunately, that might help. Three, we had, but I don't want to focus on that point. Just But I think what was more important was the fact that we kind of had some pedigree. The fact that both me and my co-founder we worked for 10 years in startups. I'm a second-time founder. He's the tech guy, I'm the growth guy. So we combined and we aggregated each other really value, Then the way we started this conversation with the investors, some of us, like both me and my co-founder, we already knew some of them. So we just called them because we knew from events, we knew from other lives, like we knew from the university time. And so it just happened that we knew the people. And also one of our first ever investors, like angel investor that kick off everything in the company, also opened us some doors in Portugal. So everything together gave us that momentum. And the other thing is we actually sold them a dream. And by the way, we were not making money. Once you start to make money, and I was told this before, and now I see it is happening every day. Like once you start to do money, they just want to know about how fast that money is growing. If you are not doing money, they are okay with you trying to find PMF, right? And try to get so they will be less harsh on you, I guess. But so we sold them this dream of this money that we raised 1.1 million was to be spent like in 1 year. We had like a timeline or a business plan of 1 year, 12 to 18 months, something like that. We really soon, and this is something that I believe that saved the company, we really soon realized that we couldn't spend that money so fast. We were not going to achieve because of the reasons I told you, like we were pivoting, we were trying different customers. And so we really extended. And the way we extended is by two things. One, it's just lowering costs because we're not doing, right? So just on the cost side, we did two things. One, shorter team. So we were like 3, 4, 5 people. Even sometimes, and even today, we have this mentality in the company that is, we outsource a lot to freelancers, to experts. So we worked with an SEO expert. We didn't hire full-time SEO. We hired someone like outsourcing for 3 to 6 months to teach someone in our team who now, after 6, 8 months, is an expert, is comfortable. We are doing that with same thing with email marketing CRM. We did that with even AI in the beginning. So instead of just growing the team and then it could be like really high cost. And the second thing is marketing. So we were thinking to spend like 20, 30, 40K marketing a month. Said, no, forget it. Like, it doesn't make sense. We are not there. We don't have PMF. We're just spending on Google ads or Meta, whatever. Like, if you turn off these, just disappear. It doesn't make sense. So we had a lot in SEO and other tools that now are compounding a lot. And we are acquiring, just to tell us one last number, 80% of the paid users that we acquired are organic. Just 20% are paid performance. So this is really, but we started this 1 year ago. Yeah.
Organic through SEO.
SEO, we have our own blog. We
Is that the biggest organic source?
Blog generates like 1/3 of the visits to the website. And we are doing like we used to do in past semester, like 2 articles per week. Now we are writing 3. And initially we started with someone with a team. Now we have like a team of freelancers that we already trained and have our briefings. And then we like oversee the things. And so we are growing that part also. Social media, then even my LinkedIn, if you connect me or with me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I post a lot. So I started this in January, and as I told you, it's the only social media I use. I already spend some time there daily, so I just said, why not to properly post? So January, I started to post 3 times a week, and 1 month ago, I started to post 5 times a week. So I'm posting every single day, and this is still time. It takes me time, right? So it's different channels that we are doing here. Yeah.
Cool.
So when we think about the culture, the business culture in Portugal, safety and security is valued over just taking an innovation, usually. When you were growing your team or finding the right people to work with, how did you know those were the people that would help you grow?
Okay. So just a short comment on the first one. So when I was in Brussels, I didn't tell you, but I was advocating for a concept called junior enterprise, which is like entrepreneurs. And so this was 2014, and I was already pitching the European Commission, the European Council, this. Like in Europe, it's all about risk averse. Like in the US, if you are like a second time fund that failed, they will love it. If you are a first time, they don't want to invest on it. So the speech is still the same. I feel like we are improving, but just a slight note on that. Now, your second point, how did I find the team? Now do you know? One, so both me and my co-founder, we spent a lot of time in this concept called junior enterprise, which are companies within the universities, and people are not paid. And so it's already a stamp, quality stamp, that we know that if people are coming from there, and by the way, there are these junior enterprises across Europe and across the world. So if you want, and different industries, so it's a really nice, if you want like junior people to hire already stamp, like Isaac or other student organizations, okay? And so this is where we get a lot of people from. It doesn't mean that they are leaving now, but that they were there 3, 4, 5 years ago. It gives me a step of quality. And the second thing is, you never know, right? You can do exams, tests, validate things, have cultural checks, talks, whatever, but you never know. And so this is actually another main reason why companies, or it's the thing that founders hate to do normally, and it takes them more time. It's more difficult to outsource or to delegate. It's hiring. And I mean, I already wrote some posts about that on LinkedIn. I shot some videos where I basically say that you just need to pay attention to the red flags. And as soon as you have 1 or 2 red flags, the second one is already too much. Just you need to cut it, right? And in our size now, with 5 to 10 people, like one person can infect a lot the other ones. And so we need to cut that from the root. And we also believe that are doing that better and faster, which is something like hire slow and fire fast. Yeah, fire fast. Yeah.
People can talk a good strategy and a good plan, but when it comes to
the
tactics and the actual doing, that's a big problem for me.
And sometimes within weeks, 1 or 2 or 3 months, you get this and you start to feel it. You know, your sixth sense, you know it's there, but you just don't want to fire the person because there'll be more problems for you, because then you need to go back to square one, you need to square zero, you need to redo the entire process to find new candidates, but it will hurt you more in the future. Yeah.
One last question, maybe, or 2.
Okay, I promise I will be shorter in the answers. So
Editors, how do you handle them? How do you differentiate from them?
Yeah. So on this business model, which is turning long videos into short ones with AI, if it's only this, we have around 50 competitors. So that's a lot. And everyone is competing for all these SEO, content creators, space, and awareness. And so we have taken this decision of, we are still there, but now we are focusing, as I told you, on the media industry. And this means that we are focusing not only on enterprise instead of B2B, B2C, so more B2B enterprise deals. And second, we are creating and tailoring our algorithms for these specific types of content. Because currently what we do and our competitors do, those 50, is that we have 1 or 2 algorithms for every kind of content, right? Apart from the gaming, which is a different thing. Like this talking content, everyone uses the same, which is a generic thing, you know? What we want to do is, okay, create good algorithms for reality shows, for like news things, for daytime shows, for et cetera. And that's what we are doing with the media. And we are already working on that. Yeah, so we are doubling down on the media.
More specialization.
Yes.
In media.
Exactly. Again, go into a specific niche and specify there. Be really good at that. And then eventually in 1 2 years, you can go to another industry and replicate the same.
Okay, thank you for coming. I think my question is kind of related to this topic, but maybe I would like to get it a little bit more clear. So you were mentioning that you are posting 5 times a week on your LinkedIn. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of like content, and maybe it could be very like time consuming. How do you make it less time consuming? Like, do you have any framework or tools that you use so that it is more productive and quality content?
Yeah, I will tell you a secret. This is being recorded, right?
Yes, forever.
Forever. Anyway, I don't think I ever said this in public. It's not a big thing. Other people do it. I have a ghostwriter. I have someone that helps me create a post where I sit down with him, that person, every month. We just sat down actually the first month, January, like deciding the strategy. We went through a lot of things. And yes, there was a clear framework that person brought in. And then what happens is that person, we are aligned on the topics, on the things that we want to highlight, on the formats we want to write, if it's image, video, etc. And then every time that I have crazy ideas, I just share with him, and we have this backlog, we just bring things. So we kind of have a framework, yes, on Notion, and yeah. So I have someone helping me doing this. And I also have a second person who's helping me to shoot the videos, that write the scripts, and then I books everything, and I just appear on that day. We shoot 3, 4, 5 videos, and then we have content for the following weeks. And that person edits everything. Yeah.
Tarek?
Last question.
Finishing this question and answer session. First of all, thank you for your inspiring story, Mario. My name is Kira. I'm a personal consultant to businesses and individual entrepreneurs in effective start of business. And my question is, I think I saw you on the Entrepreneurship Award recently, right? In Capitalism.
Entrepreneurship Awards?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely saw the company was presented there. My question is, was your participation in this award? What was the aim of participation? Was it like fundraising or more like financial resources rising, or personal very personal like awareness of the brand rising?
Nice. I think it's a really good point for us to wrap up here, because basically, just to give some context, this happened Monday, so 2 days ago. It was the Entrepreneurship Awards, which is like a big event in Portugal, happens once a year, and they just award startups and the ecosystem in Portugal. And so I didn't apply actually myself, because it was the only category that people couldn't apply. They were chosen. And so we were chosen to the most promising startup 2024 or 2025 for the future. And so this was like from 140, I already saw like from 140 or 300 startups, they chose 10, and we were like one of the 10 finalists. And then we pitched to a 32 VCs jury from Portugal and outside, and they chose the winner, and we won. So we won last Monday, the most promising startup from Portugal, 3 years and a half after all these stories, right? So you see, it takes time, and we are just now going, and like the hockey stick, it's just now starting it. We are still in the beginning. So we are really excited, really pumped, and this award just gave like a lot of energy and motivation to the team for what is coming. Yeah. So thank you also for bringing that. I was bringing it, but yeah, thank you. I think just to wrap up on this note, that after 3 years and a half, we were considered the most promising. That normally you would think something like started 1 month, 6 months, 1 year ago, right? Not 3 years and a half ago. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mario.
Thank you.